Well, I'd heard some bits and pieces about the fact that it was happening already and thought that was fantastic. I wasn't necessarily planning on getting involved, partly just because of the distance and with the pandemic and everything. Coming up from down south felt like a bit of a journey that I wasn't quite sure I was going to be undertaking this summer. But then Anwyn got hold of me, and she had heard on the grapevine that I was making potentially a puppet of William Blake for John Higgs. So she was very keen for that to happen and for the puppet to be at Blame Blake. And I loved that idea as well. And it was a delightful thing to find another potential facet of a way that that was going to be able to be actualised. So the whole thing came together and we all made it happen together in the end, which was fantastic. When I make puppets, I've made previous puppets of philosophers and writers and thinkers, and often of people who are now dead, never previously one from a century that I never lived in the way is the case with Blake. I often have some interest in their work, obviously, to begin with, and this was very true of Blake. I'll often be a bit of a novice with it, though, and not have delved deeply, and I really find making someone's likeness in a slightly absurd form, because the puppets I make are very Muppet-like, bring a bit of humour to it. It's a really delightful way to get to know a thinker's energy and their sort of process, the way that they articulate their visions, quite literally in Blake's case with words. It was really, really moving doing that with Blake. It was a different process again. I was very struck when I first kind of made his head shape. You often get a sense of something from that. It's a funny process with the puppet making. He just felt so warm and friendly and in love with the world. And as I delved further into his work, as I made the puppet, listened to more of his poetry, listened to John Higgs's audiobook of his most recent writing on him, I really realised more and more that that was very much the take I was getting from it. Was just this sheer delight of someone moving through these different realms of consciousness and seeing it all in his own very unique way. It's been delightful. Like I said, I would have considered myself a bit of a novice previously, and in many ways I still would. I think there's such a body of work to delve into. We've all obviously heard a few of the fundamental classics that really underpin our culture, and maybe I'd had some suspicion of some of that in the past, just because when something's so around and is co-opted and used in ways that maybe you don't agree with quite as much, you can not see past the brilliance in it. But I'd also always been very intrigued. My dad absolutely loves William Blake, so I was always raised with a real sort of, very passionate voice from, someone who's been quite influential in my life, as they are for most of us, my father. So I had a sense that at some point it was something I was going to delve into more. I have a long-standing passion for exploring different takes on reality, I guess, and I understood that Blake's work as I got older and found that would fit into that very well, and that he had unique takes on it that it would be useful to explore at some point. So it's been wonderful at Blame Blake to have that opportunity to start to do that work.